morning, everybody. This is Pamela coming at you on her Speak Up for Our Future channel. I know I haven't been on here in a long time. I thought I'd get on here this morning and start talking about what's been going on in the news in terms of the attack on Asian people down there in Atlanta, Georgia. To me, it is just beyond sad that somebody could go to a spa, try and have a good relaxing time before heading home or going to dinner and whatnot, only to end up dead. They talked about one guy and his wife being at that spa. He heard the shots and he managed to get out, but his wife wound up dying. That, to me, is a big hit in my gut. And all because a guy had got guns, went in there, and decided to shoot the place up. And I know people are probably going to be tired of me blaming Trump for this, but what else is there? He's the one who talked about the China virus. Remember? Kung flu, all that shit. He should be on the hook for this. It's been going on for hundreds of years, but like I said on my Facebook, Trump opened this Pandora's box. No doubt. No doubt. And I've said it from the beginning. Trump has given the all clear to be hateful, be vengeful, be spiteful. You know, and even, I think at a ball game of some kind, I think it was at a basketball game, somebody called a member of that team COVID. So, yeah, it's not funny. Let me see. While I'm here, let's get to the chase. The attack on Asians in Georgia. Okay, current news. Georgia attacks prompt muted reaction in Asia. Well, you guys could look that up later. But they say 8 dead in Atlanta spa shootings with fears of anti-Asian. This was 3 days ago. With fears of anti-Asian bias from the Times. Oh, this article says, let me post it to the sidebar and then we could move on. He had went to several spas. He went to 3 of them. Wow. Here we go. This fuckface went to 3 spas and decided to open fire, leaving 8 dead. Let's see. Okay. And it says here, the man who police say went on a rampage at 3 spas in the Atlanta area have been charged with 8 counts of murder in connection with the attacks. And they go down here and it says, here is what you need to know. The suspect in the spa attacks has been charged with 8 counts, as I just said. 6 of the 8 were victims of Asian descent. President Biden, I know Asian Americans are very concerned, Biden says. And another bullet here, it says, a survivor of the shooting called his wife. I've been shot. Please come. The suspect's parents identified him in surveillance tapes during the manhunt. His own parents identified his ass. Wow. And another bullet point here says Asian Americans were targeted by nearly 3,800 hate incidents in the past year. So let me clarify this. Asian Americans were targeted in nearly 3,800 hate incidents within the past year. And the last bullet point that they want you to know about, an officer criticized for his remarks is no longer a spokesman on the case. Now let's go down here and we'll start reading the article. So, again, the suspect in the attacks has been charged with 8 counts. 6 of the 8 people that died were of Asian descent. And Biden has spoke up saying that Asian Americans are really concerned. A survivor called his wife and said, "I've been shot, please come." The suspect's own folks identified this asshole in the surveillance footage during the manhunt. Experts warn a rise in hate crimes motivated by male supremacy. Asian Americans were targeted in nearly 3,500 hate incidents in the past year. And the officer who has been criticized for his remarks is no longer speaking on the case. He's no longer allowed to speak on the case. So this comes out of Ellsworth, Georgia. The man who police say went on a rampage at 3 spas in the Atlanta area, killing 8, was charged on Wednesday with 8 counts of murder in connection to these attacks. The brazen shootings, which took the lives of 6 women of Asian descent, stirred considerable outrage and fear in the Asian American community. Investigators said that they had not ruled out bias as a motivating factor, even as the suspect denied such racial animus in custody. In other words, he denied having the feelings that he did with the attacks. And it says the suspect had told the cops that he had a sexual addiction and had carried out the shootings at the massage parlors to eliminate his temptation. And before I go on to read more of this, you expect me to believe that? You expect the police to believe that? No. Sound like a racially motivated crime, and if it is not charged as a fucking hate crime, there is a problem. People here on YouTube are talking about it. And I stand with my Asian brothers and sisters and compadres in Asia. I think they have the most beautiful culture. And I'll get into that toward the end of the video here. But he said he went in there to eliminate his temptations because he claims he has a sexual addiction. And the mayor down there said, regardless of the determination about motive, the tragedy was clear. Whatever the motivation was for this punk, we know that the majority of the victims were Asian. And I think Miss Bottoms is the mayor. We also know that this is an issue that is happening across the country. It is unacceptable, it's hateful, and it has to stop. The authorities charged Robert Aaron Long, who is 21, on Wednesday with 8 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated assault in connection to the shootings. 4 of the murder counts and the assault charge stem from the first shooting in Cherokee County, and the other 4 murder counts relate to the shootings at two spas in the city of Atlanta less than an hour later, the authorities said. Captain Jay Baker of the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office had said that Mr. Long had told the police that he was driving to Florida when he was caught after the shootings on Tuesday, and that he said he may have been trying to commit similar violence at a business connected to the porn industry there. He was stopped after his parents alerted the police that they believed their son might be the suspect, and the police were able to track his phone. Sheriff Frank Reynolds of Cherokee County had said the suspects may have frequented these places in the past and may have been lashing out. And the police arrested Mr. Long, who is white, about 150 miles south of Atlanta after a manhunt, the authorities had said. They had earlier released a surveillance image of the suspect near a Hyundai Tucson outside of one of the massage parlors. Mr. Baker said that Mr. Long of Cherokee County had admitted to the shootings and he appeared to be acting alone. Rodney Bryant, the acting chief of the Atlanta Police Department, said it was not yet clear whether the shooting spree would be classified as a hate crime. Give me a second. How can you not classify it as a hate crime? That guy went in there. He knew what he was doing. They were all Asian health spas. He went in there loaded to the teeth, wanting to kill as many people as possible. How can you not consider that a fucking hate crime? But in the article it says it wasn't clear whether the shooting spree would be classified as a hate crime. We're still early in the investigation and we cannot make that determination at that moment, Chief Bryan said. We are just not there as of yet. So they caught this guy about 150 miles from where all this happened, I guess. And it says here, let's see, 4 people died in the first shooting at Young's Asian Massage near Ainsworth, a northwest suburb of Atlanta, Mr. Baker said. That shooting, in which a Hispanic man was injured, was reported around 5 p.m. At 5:47 p.m., the Atlanta police said officers responded to a robbery at Gold Spa in the northeast part of the city, where they found the bodies of 3 ladies with gunshot wounds. While the officers were at the scene, the police said they received a report of shots fired at the aromatherapy spa across the road, where they found the body of another woman. A caller who had called into 911 said she was hiding in the back of Gold Spa told the emergency operator that a white guy had a gun, according to audio recordings released by the Atlanta Police Department. She was not sure where the gunman was. She told the operator because she was hiding and was unsure what he was wearing. I don't know, she pleaded in response to questions. Please, just come. So 6 of the 8 people killed in the shootings in the Atlanta area spas on Tuesday were women of Asian descent, raising fears that they could have been targeted because of their race, even as the police said it was too early to know. My sentiments exactly. You got Asian Americans that live here. They have businesses, they have lives, and they're being targeted all because they are Asian descent. You know, and it says here, on Wednesday, the police named the victims of the shootings at Young's Asian Massage in Ainsworth, Georgia, as Delana Ashley Ewan, age 33 of Ainsworth, Paul Andre Michaels, 54 of Atlanta. I'll spell this guy's name. Xiaojie. Tan, age 49 of Kennesaw, and Dao Fang, age 44. One person, Elcias R. Hernandez Ortiz, 30 of Ainsworth, was injured. The Mexican person that they spoke of that was injured, he's 30 years old, and it says, an official from the South Korean consulate in Atlanta, citing the foreign ministry in Seoul, confirmed on Wednesday that 4 of the 8 killed in the shootings were ethnic Koreans, but the nationalities of the 4 women were not immediately known, the officials had said. Miss Yoon was a customer at Young's Asian Massage and has been planning a date night with her husband. Her half-sister, Dana Toole, said she was killed and her husband survived after locking himself in a nearby room. That's the one that I was telling you about, where the husband and wife were getting a treatment before doing something special that night. But unfortunately, he locked himself in a room and his wife died. How cold is that? But it says she was killed and her husband survived after locking himself in a nearby room when the gunshots had rang out, Miss Toole said. Quote, he's not okay, Miss Toole said about her husband. He's taking it hard, unquote. Miss Yon was one of 4 siblings who grew up in Ainsworth and had worked as a server at the Waffle House restaurant. She raised a 13-year-old son as a single mother and had an 8-month-old daughter, Miss Toole said. It was just all about family, Miss Toole said. Whatever we do it together. Now the shooting has left the family in shock. It don't seem real. I expect to see her walking through the door any minute, but it hasn't quite sunk in yet, Toole had said. My eyes hurt so bad I've been crying so much, she said. It's just hard right now for us to even think about moving forward because she's not here. And they show pictures of some of these massage parlors. Young's Asian Massage is tucked in the modest strip mall with a beauty salon on one side and a boutique on the other. Like much of suburban Georgia, the mall is a diverse place with Pandieras and Latin businesses and American-style chain restaurants. On Tuesday night, the blue lights of police vehicles cast an eerie glow as detectives worked outside the spa. Rita Barron, 47, the owner of Gabby's Boutique next door, was with a group of onlookers standing near a used car lot. She said she had been with a customer when she heard noises through the wall that sounded like claps, and then a woman screaming. She called 911 and soon saw victims being taken out by police officers. Nearby, a wall of anguish went up, with another cluster of people waiting for any news. They dropped to the pavement. And it says, 2 of them embracing and shaking as they cried. And it says, President Biden said on Wednesday that the question of motivation was still to be determined in the Georgia shootings, while renewing his concerns over the recent surge in violence against Asian Americans. Mr. Biden told reporters ahead of a virtual meeting with the Irish Prime Minister that he had been briefed by the Attorney General and the FBI Director about the shootings, said that an investigation was ongoing. Whatever the motivation here, he said, I know Asian Americans are very concerned because, as you know, I have been speaking about the brutality against Asian Americans for the last couple of months, and I think it's very, very troubling. But I am making no connection at this moment as to the motivations of the killer. I'm waiting for an answer as the investigation proceeds, from the FBI and from the Justice Department. I'll have more to say when the investigation is completed. In his first primetime speech as president last week, marking a year of the coronavirus pandemic, Mr. Biden denounced vicious hate crimes against Asian Americans who had been attacked, harassed, blamed, and scapegoated. At this very moment, so many of them, our fellow Americans, are on the front lines of this pandemic trying to save lives and still are forced to live in fear of their lives walking down the streets in America. He says it's wrong, it's un-America, and it must stop. Vice President Kamala Harris, the first woman of the first Asian American to hold office, expressed condolences to the families of the victims, meeting with the Irish officials on Wednesday. She says, this speaks to a larger issue in which the issue of violence in our country, which we must do what it said we must do to never tolerate it and to always speak against it, Ms. Harris said, adding that the motive in the shooting was still unclear. I do want to say that our Asian American community, that we stand with you and we understand how this has frightened and shocked and outraged all people, she added. Let's go down here and see what else this says, if I can get down there. And it says on Friday, Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris They will meet in Atlanta with community leaders and state lawmakers from Asian American and Pacific leader community. A White House official confirmed on Thursday. The president and vice president have been scheduled to visit the city as part of a promotional tour for the $1.9 trillion economic relief package that Biden had signed into law last week. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution previously reported details of the meeting with the community leaders. And if you want to look at more of this article, you can read it. It goes through all the bullet points, point by point. So if you want to read the rest of this article, it's in the sidebar for your perusal. Oh. Yeah, I heard about let me finish this one bullet point here. I hope that the Asian community can recover from this. This is not what America's about. Okay? You know, the guy was a total nut job. He did what he did. And let me take a moment to talk about what my friend is talking about here. Wow. I heard about one young man dying in a hazing incident, but I haven't really heard much about it since. But let me talk about what I do know. I've been watching a bit of the news while being sick last week, and when I heard about the shootings at these spas, I couldn't believe it. You know, and if anybody tries to pin a sexual problem, I think about Elliot Rodger, who had that problem. You know, just because, you know, he tries to pin it on, you know, this guy that went into 3 Asian spas hoping to kill as many people as he could. You know, it is a damn hate crime. They were all Asian spas. A lot of the victims were Asian. And I think some of them were Korean. So it should be charged as a hate crime. Because for months, it's been very concerning. For the last 4 years, it could be very concerning. Especially when it comes on the heels of the first outbreak of the COVID-19 virus, in which we all know Donald Trump has pointed the blame at China, saying mean things like calling it the China virus or the Kung flu. And let's not forget, there has been a substantial rise against the Asian community of hatred against them. You know, I bet a lot of these people that do these hate crimes, you know, they see them run their businesses, and yet they go right into their restaurants and eat their food and watch their chopped sake flicks. They don't have a problem with that. But yet this one moron decided to arm himself to the teeth and take out his hatred or his sexual frustration on an Asian massage parlor. 3 of them, as a matter of fact. And how they could not classify that as a hate crime. If you don't, then you're stupid. You are fucking dumb. You know, and I hurt for the Asian American community. We watch them in the movies. Big Trouble in Little China is one movie that I love to death. We watch Bruce Lee. He was born here. His father came over here from Kowloon, China, and was doing a play, and he had his wife with him, and she went into labor, and he was born up in Seattle. So when he got old enough, you know, his father sent him back to America, told him to make a big noise in America so he could hear it over there. So, yeah. So he got his immigration papers. He says, show them your birth certificate. They have to let you in. Watch the story, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. You know, it talks about a rough and tumble kid who grew up You know, he was born here, but yet he grew up over there in Asia. And he was having some trouble with some bullies over there. And the police wanted to arrest him. So his father sent him over here to America, and he got into his studies. And he opened up a kung fu school. I think it was the Bruce Lee Institute of Kung Fu. So, yeah. And then it just went from there. He found his wife, Linda, got married, had 2 kids, and had started his film career. When it wasn't working over here, he went over to his home country to make movies after burying his father. And then he died before the release of Enter the Dragon. You know, he came back to America because he would have lost his family if he didn't. You know, but he had a cerebral edema that killed him. You know, and here in America, Bruce Lee is considered to be one of the greatest martial artists of all time. And as I've said, you know, they had a rule over there in Asia. They had strict guidelines that you could not teach the secrets of Kung Fu to white, black, and Mexicans. You know, we cannot teach them our secrets. Back then, they were the enemy. But he had to fight for his right to teach whoever he wanted to teach. Chuck Norris was one of his students, and countless other people. You could look it up on the internet. You could look up, who did Bruce Lee teach in his Kung Fu school? You could do that. Bruce Lee is considered an icon, and his son is considered an icon. You know him probably from Rapid Fire, or what's the last one that he did? The Crow. You know, he has made a small mark in the film industry, but he died of tragic circumstances as well. So, yeah. But again, the person that did these attacks on the spas down in Atlanta, Georgia, knew what he was doing. I fully believe he knew what he was doing. He wanted to kill as many as he could, and he didn't care who he killed as long as he had completed that mission. And it should be classified as a hate crime, not just against the Asian community, but also the Korean community. You know, and we have to look at where this stem of hatred is coming from. And let's remember, his own parents turned his ass in. They were like, we know who was on this tape. You know, and they did a manhunt, and they found him 150 miles away. He was heading to Florida after he had done it. And then he was going to do more damage to something else. So you can go back and look through that whole article. You could read through all the bullet points and then read under those bullet points as you go down through the article. So, yeah, I mean, it's sad. It really is. Because, like I said, they have a beautiful culture. They have, you know, I think they live simpler than we do. They appreciate things a hell of a lot more. I mean, over there in China, some of them still ride their bikes. Some of them don't even bother with a car. They have a simpler way of living. They don't deal with what we, you know, they don't live the way we do here in the West. Okay, they don't have the mansions. You know, they have cars. They live in houses, and they use bamboo with their construction. So, yeah, I mean, life's different over there. And maybe the simpler way of living is the better way of living, you know. I don't think very many people are living the more modern life, if you want to know what I mean. You know, there are people over there in Asia that play violent video games, and they don't have half the crime rate that we do. But I bet a lot of these people that are racist, they do all these things, and yet they see a Chinese restaurant. They're not afraid to park their car and go in, and then they act real nice and friendly in front of them, but when they get home, they say all those nasty things. And in the film Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, even though the scene in that room is probably depicted for Hollywood, but I do believe Bruce Lee had a real breakdown, because he went back to his home country, his father's home country, and was making movies over there like The Big Boss. And his wife wanted to take the kids and go back to America. And then all that pent up anger and emotion that he had built up for so long finally exploded when he says, "I'm not going back there." He says, "To America, I'm just another gook. I'm a wet bag. I could be one of these guys that says one from column A and one from column B." And it scared the kids. They were asleep. He didn't know what was happening. And she wanted him to come back to America. And he was going on about, he says, "America gave me nothing." And she says, "Well, it got you me. I am not America." She goes, their view. She's basically saying their view of America is not me. Their view of America is not your kids. But she was going to take the kids and go back to America. And he wanted so much to be respected by his father's country. But he wanted his family also. So when the Green Hornet got canceled, he went home and tried to do the show Kung Fu. But as you know, back in those days, racism was pretty rampant. They say, "Can you make sure he keeps the mask on?" when he was doing Kato. Because he's too Oriental. But yet, I think they said that Bruce Lee was supposed to be on the original show Kung Fu, but they got Mr. Carradine to do it. They didn't want Bruce Lee to do it because he was too Asian. So, yeah, racism's gone on for years, but for the last several years, it has been basically dormant that we know of. And as I said, Trump opened this Pandora's box within the last year of his presidency. He's the same guy who said it would disappear, the coronavirus. I think it actually came from Europe. I think the coronavirus actually came from Europe and not China, as Trump explained, as Trump thinks. And it hurts me because I have some Asian friends. I know at least one of them owns a restaurant and has been good friends with my family for a lot of years. He runs a restaurant here in my city, and my dad loved going to this particular restaurant. And he said to everybody, whether he was here at home or down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, "Yo, if you come up to Columbus, Ohio, go to this particular restaurant." He would give the name. And he says, it's the best damn Chinese I've ever had. And I won't eat anywhere else. And that says a lot. And when my dad died, they sent flowers, and we had a little bit of a cooling down and getting together period after my father's service in 2009. And then when my mom died, they sent flowers. And that's the biggest example of love, They would check on, we would come in, when it was pre-COVID. We would come in maybe not long after my mom died. The last surviving parent had died. They were like, "You guys doing okay?" And I'm like, "Well, we're doing about as well as can be expected, but we still miss her." I said, "We try to come in here maybe on their birthdays and and kind of have a meal in their memory. So, yeah. And they said, yeah, your father was a great friend to us. And it was great to have that support. Like I said, they're a beautiful culture. You don't have half the problems over there that we have over here. So, whatever the guy's motives were, it just really sucks. It just really sucks that people couldn't go to a spa to get, whether it was needed by a doctor, a massage parlor, whether it was needed by a doctor or you go just to unwind before going out for the night. When a guy lost his wife, heard the shots rang out, he locked himself in the closet and his wife was dead. And this guy had 3 massage parlors. You still don't consider that a hate crime? Bullshit. He went to a select business that involved Asians. I don't know. Yeah, so we're going to put that to bed. I hope they never let his ass out. I hope they do the same thing that they did that he did to those people, except do it slowly. Make him feel the pain those people felt. Put him in front of a squad is what I'm saying. And hit him slowly. Boom. 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 And before you do it, and say, this is for all the lives that you took. You took 8 people, we're going to give you 8 shots. And that's how it should be. But man, I would have talked about this when it happened, but I have been trying to get back on my feet. I was pretty sick, thinking that I was going through, I think I'm transitioning from being fertile to going into 50 and up without that crap. And I got my monthly last week, and it kind of had me laid out for about 2 to 3 days. Then on Thursday, I had to go to the store because I was out of milk, and I needed to get some groceries so I could have some milk to drink and to coat the stomach, because that's all I could put on my stomach for like the last few days before. So, yeah, it's been a rough week, but I'm doing better. I'm feeling better. I know I need to wash my hair. I look like absolute hell, but that's just the way it is when you're not feeling well. So, this last year has been tough, on Asians, especially when Trump calls out the coronavirus as a kung flu. Go over to my other channel, Sharing News and Music. I think I might have it linked to the channel, but I'll check when I get off the stream. But I shared a video that Biden did just before the election that deals directly with the coronavirus, and it talks about all the lies that he was spewing, even saying that it would disappear like a miracle and all that. And it just shows how cold he was. Racism like that's been going on for years, but to have it on a public stage like it is now, just like the Black Lives Matter movement, things that happen like the shooting at those spas, how can we not blame Trump for this? How can we? Trump opened the Pandora's box and spread his misinformation on nationwide television, not to mention internet. He's been banned from Facebook. He's been banned from Twitter. And his whole hate campaign went to hell after that. But there are people that took his words from before he was silenced, and they're executing them. I heard about a older gentleman of Asian descent that was pushed to the ground and later died from his injuries. And then one woman was attacked by somebody, but she fought back from her attacker. So, yeah. I mean, it's just sad. It really is. Let me see here. Let's see. Asian woman fights back on attacker. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Elderly Asian woman attacked in San Francisco fights back and sends alleged attacker to the hospital. This comes off of CBS News. Oh, and the attacker, they're showing video on the article here. So let me share this with you. The Asian woman that you'll see in the video, she's got bruises all over her face. So no wonder she probably sent the guy to the hospital. So never underestimate the power of anybody. You know, if they're able to fight back, let them fight back. Because, I mean, this is just sad. It really is. Yeah. So I'm going to turn on the audio here in just a second. And I want you to hear this. Attack victim fights back, it says. Let's see. Come on.
Nearly 25 years ago, lawmakers passed comprehensive internet regulations. What happened after that? If the internet has come...
God, I hate ads. Ads. They suck.
With the Asian woman who fought back after being attacked in San Francisco Wednesday. This comes after several violent encounters in San Francisco and Oakland targeting Asians. KPIX5's Andrea Nakano with the exclusive interview.
Very scared and traumatized and really hurt, and these eyes still bleeding.
From her senior retirement home in San Francisco, Xiaoshen Xie candidly talked about the attack and her injuries, with her daughter helping to translate.
The red eye still cannot see anything, still bleeding. So use a lot of something to absorb the bleeding.
The attack happened just around 10 this morning on Market and 7th Street. Xiaoshen Xie says she was just waiting at the traffic light, and then the suspect punched her in her left eye.
He's talking about I don't know why he attacked me.
Immediately, her instincts kicked in to defend herself. While she suffered injuries and required medical attention, it was her attacker that ended up on the stretcher.
Fight stay for around the area and fight back.
Xiaoshen Xie's daughter says her mother cannot see at all out of her left eye and hasn't been able to eat. The hope is time will heal the physical and emotional wounds, but this incident is one that has scarred her for life.
As you can see, she is extremely terrified. She's terrified to even step out.
Aww.
Priceline can save you up to 60% on top hotels.
God damn.
These are great because now...
If I wanted that, I would have asked. But, yeah, you heard the Chinese lady saying that she was waiting for the bus or waiting at the light. And some guy wound up whapping her at the side of the face. And her face is bruised. You can go and click on that link. Yeah, you could go on the CBS News website and you could look at that video. But it says down here, if it has anything written. And it says here, an elderly woman who was attacked on Market Street in San Francisco on Wednesday is the latest victim of a wave of attacks on Asians in the Bay Area. Turned the tables on her assailant, leaving him with injuries that required a trip to the hospital. And they spoke, I think she spoke with CBS San Francisco about the attack from her senior retirement home in the city with her daughter helping to translate. She says, very traumatized, very scared, and the eye is still bleeding. Her daughter told CBS, the right eye still cannot see anything and is still bleeding. And we have something to absorb the bleeding. But it says her mother was holding an ice pack to her face at the attack scene. Police said both the assailant and victim were taken to the hospital for treatment. Surrounded by her family, the woman, who is 76 years old, lives in San Francisco. She's been there for 26 years, said she is quite shaken up and the attack was completely unprovoked. Her immediate instinct was to fight back. She said she was just waiting at a traffic light when a suspect suddenly punched her in her left eye. Immediately, her instincts kicked in to defend herself. Let's get this down here. While she suffered injuries and required medical attention, it was her attacker that ended up on the stretcher, Lee says. She found that stick around the area and fought back. John Chen, the grandson, told CBS San Francisco that his grandmother is extremely terrified. She's terrified to even go out. CBS San Francisco sports director Dennis O'Donnell happened to come up on the scene during his morning run. Wow. There was a guy on a stretcher and a frustrated, angry woman with a stick in her hand, O'Donnell said. From what I could see, she wanted more of the guy on the stretcher, and the police were holding her back. Witnesses told the station they saw the woman punching her assailant. Let me correct that. Witness said they saw the woman pummeling her assailant. In the video taken at the scene, the suspect is handcuffed to the stretcher with his face bloodied. The sobbing victim appears to berate him and wave what looks to be like a wooden board at him as he's being taken away. Quote, "You bum, why did you hit me?" the woman said in Chinese. She then turned to the crowd of people who gathered and exclaimed, "This bum, he hit me." As she raised the stick and she was holding and sobbed, "He hit me, this bum." She repeated. The officers say there was a second victim earlier, the 83-year-old Asian man. And before I go on, I think that might be the one that might have died. I don't know. Let's see. Officers say there was a second victim earlier, an 83-year-old Asian man. And the guy who did that attack on that woman, he's 39 years old. He's being investigated for both attacks. And police say they're trying to determine if bias was a factor. The family has set up a GoFundMe account to help with the medical expenses. Let me see if that is still viable. Yeah, it's still viable. You could donate now if you want to. Because you see the bruises on her face. She could use all the help she can get. The GoFundMe is in the article should you want to read it. But they're going to help with the, she's got the help for the medical expenses. But if you still want to donate, you can. Yeah. But that punk that hit that woman at the light is going to be in, he's going to be in some hot water for a while. But an 83-year-old man was also attacked in San Francisco. But I don't know if he will be charged for both attacks or what. But I think it's pretty sad. And I could understand her fear about going out in public. The woman is 76. But damn it, she wasn't afraid to fight back. And I'm glad she did fight back. She called him a bum. She said, this bum hit me. And she asked him, why did you hit me in Chinese? But again, people who do this kind of shit, they should go to jail. They should go to jail. That is straight up assault, and he could have killed her. because she is 76. You know, bones aren't as strong as they used to be when you're that age. And the fact that some fat, portly looking guy, as seen in the article, got put into a stretcher. I mean, it's just funny and it's sad. Yeah, I mean, it's just sad. It really is. And she sent him to the hospital too. Oh. You know, and I refreshed the page because they're showing her on the street talking, and then they show her at home, and her face is all black and blue. You know, and the guy, I think a sports guy walked by and saw the woman beating the crap out of this idiot. So, yeah, let's play it again.
Priceline works with top hotels to save you up to 60%.
Oh, come on.
These are all great.
Cut the ads.
And when you get a big deal,
Come on. I don't want to deal with ads, but I'll play the ad again.
Asian woman who fought back after being attacked in San Francisco Wednesday. This comes after several violent encounters in San Francisco and Oakland targeting Asians. KPIX5's Andrea Nakano with the exclusive interview.
Very scared and traumatized and very hurt and this eye still bleeding.
From her senior retirement home in San Francisco, Xiaoshen Xie candidly talked about the attack and her injuries, with her daughter helping to translate.
The red eye still cannot see anything, still bleeding. So use a lot of something to absorb the bleeding.
The attack happened just around 10 this morning on Market and 7th Street. Xiaoshen Xie says she was just waiting at the traffic light, and then the suspect punched her in her left eye.
He's talking about I don't know why he attacked me.
Immediately, her instincts kicked in to defend herself. While she suffered injuries and required medical attention, it was her attacker that ended up on the stretcher.
Fight the stay for around the area and fight back.
Xiaoshen Xie's daughter says her mother cannot see at all out of her left eye and hasn't been able to eat. The hope is time will heal the physical and emotional wounds, but this incident is one that scarred her for life.
As you can see, she is extremely terrified. She's terrified to even step out.
Aww. You know, and that's horrible. You hear her crying, right? You hear the woman crying. Go to that article. I have it down there in the sidebar. It's the last link that I put in the description so far. Check that out. But, you know, don't underestimate an old woman. If she's going to fight back, she's going to fight back, and she did. She put the fat guy on the stretcher. That I am glad about. But she's terrified to even go out in public. That is not what I want for my country. Trump may want that shit, but I don't. You know, and I hope and pray that the 80-something-year-old guy that may have been attacked by that fat ass, I hope he didn't die from his attack. And it's a shame because I think Asians do have a beautiful culture. And it's being besmirched because people are going to hate, but they took it a step too far, especially on this one woman in San Francisco. Are you kidding me? I couldn't help but laugh when I saw the guy laying flat out on a stretcher. So, yeah, I mean, it's just sad. Let me see if I see anything about the 83-year-old man that was attacked. Yo, hey, give me a minute here. Let's see. Any news on the 83-year-old man that was attacked in San Francisco? Well, Wow. Okay. Let's see. Second fundraiser set up for elderly Asian violently attacked by man in San Francisco. Wow, and this is from 6 days ago. Let me go to the most current one. We'll go to, let's see. We'll go to Yahoo News, since I read most of my news from there anyway. A second fundraiser has been set up for elderly Asian violently attacked by man in San Francisco. This must be for the Asian woman and the Asian man. So, and this one says, this is from the 19th. San Francisco police have arrested a man in connection to a violent assault on Market Street and 7th Street on Wednesday against 2 elderly Asian people. The 83-year-old man, which I spoke of, and a 75-year-old woman who fought back. The guy has been identified as Stephen Jenkins. He's 38, was booked on 2 counts of assault, likely to produce great bodily injury, and 2 counts of elder abuse, reports ABC 7. And it says, somebody on Twitter posted, this is 83-year-old Nijak. He is one of 2 Asian seniors attacked along Market Street and 7th yesterday. Oh my God. And his injuries are noted. Parts of his neck broken and has other serious injuries. A GoFundMe is being set up. If this image isn't enough to be change in this city, I don't know what is. Stop Asian hate hashtag. All because the guy hates Asians. God. Let's see. I think his name is Nagak Pham. Was shopping for groceries when he was attacked. He sustained injuries such as cuts, bruises, and a fractured nose. Doctors have also recommended an MRI to check for fractures in the neck. The Community Health Center in San Francisco has organized a fundraiser campaign on GoFundMe to cover the victim's medical bills. It has raised over $117,000 of its $25,000 goal as of that writing. And they're showing him in the hospital, and I think it's sad. I think it really is. And you could look at all that, and then they have the video, which you could watch on YouTube, of the elderly lady that was savagely hit by a fat white guy. And she's very traumatized, and the eye is still bleeding. The right eye still can't see anything, and is still bleeding. And you could see that they were using a towel to try to stop the bleeding. She has a GoFundMe also, which is posted in the other article. But it says here, the daughter also says her mother's mental health has been unstable. She gets dizzy and can only eat porridge since the incident. Her family has also set up a GoFundMe, which is also featured in the second article, which I will share. But it says here, it has raised over $625,000 of its $50,000 goal as of this writing. In a statement, San Francisco Police Department revealed that a security guard chased Jenkins after attacking Pham. As Jenkins was fleeing, he assaulted the female victim, police noted. The security guard was able to detain Jenkins until officers arrived. Investigators believe the attacks were unprovoked and are currently looking into racial bias as a possible motive. And it goes on here. This is, you have a hate incident to report. Help us document the recent rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans by going to Stop the Hate to report the incident. And they say, please stay safe out there. And it's sad. It really is. Here's the second article. And they're showing these, the one man in the hospital that could possibly have broken bones in the neck. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? I'm doing well. Just feel, I'm getting better. It's just hard. With the weather changing and then my body going through the change in life, possibly. Yeah, I'm kind of shifting, You get used to a certain groove that your body gets in, and then when it gets out of groove, when you hit almost 50 here in under a month and a half, you kind of start to realize that your body is going to change. You still have the hot flashes, but you still have your period too. So, yeah. I know to some of you possibly watching this, TMI, right? Yeah. But, the people that are doing this crap, they attacked, this person attacked 2 elderly people in San Francisco and put them both in the hospital. I know the older lady, she's too scared to go out. And the older gentleman is probably like, what did I ever do to that guy to warrant being in the hospital? And those 2 did nothing wrong. And if I was Asian and attacked and was able to fight back, I would have put him in something other than a gurney. Yeah. Yeah. So, it's just, it's just one big mess, I would hate to have that happen to some people that I do know that are Asian. So, yeah. And I also went to school with some Middle Eastern people too, What happened in San Francisco is not what America is about. What happened in Atlanta at those massage bars, the Asian massage parlors, that is not what America is about. You don't expect to go to a massage parlor and end up dying. A guy lost his wife. 8 people wound up dead in total. The other moron attacked 3 massage parlors. He claims he has a sexual problem. But I don't believe that. Because what happened? The Pandora's box was opened over a year ago. No, I know it's not cool. And it's just like they want to chastise things like Black Lives Matter and stop the hate on Asians. They want to quell that. You're not going to, because I know you're attacking people because of their color or their gender preference. It's not right. You don't like it? You have the right not to like it, but you don't have the right to go pummeling somebody because of the color of their skin or their gender orientation. That's not going to happen. And I hope the person that killed the 8 people, I don't think he'll ever get out of jail. And if he does, something will be wrong with our judicial system. And if you don't classify those as hate crimes, then there's definitely something wrong. Because you can go and watch those videos. Oh, I forgot to share that other article, didn't I? Sorry about that, folks, but you have to forgive me. I am tired. But yeah, let's see. Here we go. Live stream. Well, they do it because either the hate crime is, you could do it for race, creed, color, whatever country you're from, whatever disability you have. It could be just about anything, if it causes bodily harm or death, then it should be considered a hate crime. I mean, they said one guy that was attacked died from his injuries. One Asian died from his or her injuries. So, yeah, it's not funny. And I hate to say it, but, it was like a serpent lying in wait for a lot of years. And then over a year ago, coronavirus happened. And you all saw the news reports. You all saw his piece of shit news standings. The Kung flu, the China virus. It's awful. It's awful. And whoever precipitates that should go to jail, should be looked into for racial bias. And it's awful. And very few racists actually change their colors. I don't know if any of you youngsters out there that are 18 and up are aware of a series that's on Showtime called America Under Fire. Yeah, they had an episode where somebody had attacked a temple. Oh, if they don't stop, you could file charges for assault if you ever find out who they were. Because if you spit on somebody, that is considered assault. If they have the gumption to go to the police, and file charges if they do know you, or if you find out who they are, you can file charges for assault. But too often, people that are bullied and shamed, too often not enough is being done to curb that. I know about a young man that watched the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic that used to be on what used to be the Hub Network, but it's now Freeform. This kid was bullied for liking My Little Pony. Yeah. Oh. But let me tell you about a young boy that I met a couple years ago. Sadly, I met him under tragic circumstances because this kid was bullied for liking a show called My Little Pony. Friendship is Magic. It used to be on the Hub Network. Now it was on Freeform until it went into a new incarnation on that Freeform. And the sad thing is, this kid was very likable, friendly, but all because he liked the character Pinkie Pie and the series My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. For a while, he let the taunts roll off his back until one day he came home from school, and I guess all the stress that had built up had exploded into a fight, and he went to his room and he hung himself off the bed. But by some miracle or another, he survived, but he is permanently in a wheelchair. He can't speak. He's basically now a disabled person. But he's still alive. His name is Michael Morones. And he's somewhere in the Carolinas where he lives. And because of this, he was in a coma for a while. Now he's permanently disabled. His family has gone through a divorce. The family dynamic fractured because of that. I guess because, grief haunts people in different ways. And sad that his family had gone through a divorce over that. But he's a tough kid. He smiles and laughs. but I don't think he could see. So bullying is not funny. It could be deadly and have permanent consequences. And I'm hoping that the two Asians that I talked about, I hope they recover from their injuries. And I'm hoping that the families of those who died find peace in knowing that there are people out there who actually care. There are more people out there that care than don't care. I don't want to see another Asian get killed. And bullying sucks. It happens online. It happens in public. And I hope you guys will read these articles and let me know how you feel. I mean, it's just something that shouldn't be tolerated. And for those that support bullying, you're the one that's going to end up either hurt or in jail. Because if they catch you, and I have no doubt that they would put you in jail. And I know I should have talked about this days ago, but as I said, I was down for the count for most of the week. So, yep. And by the time I got to the store and got everything unloaded and got home, I was tired. I went to bed. I don't think I even ate that day, to tell you the truth, because I had gotten up and was doing things, trying to keep busy until time to leave. And then I went to the store, and then I came home and went to bed after that. So, yeah. And you got things you have to do. You got to do it. So, and, stop the hate. Stop the hate. This is like Black Lives Matter. It's just as important. And don't forget to watch the trial about that guy, the cop that held his knee on the neck of George Floyd for 8.5 minutes. Be sure to check those articles out, and I'll get back on here in a couple days. I got to go over to my home channel and talk about this. Hopefully, we can get together this weekend and talk about it. So, yeah. But I know there's some young people that can't watch this video due to COPPA guidelines, but I want them to know that if you feel like you're being bullied, tell somebody you trust. Tell your mom, tell your dad, and if you have to, tell your guidance counselor, tell your priest if you can trust them. And never let bullies get you down. It's hard. I've been through it myself, and I'll talk about that another day. And it's something that, just because they get behind a keyboard, it doesn't make them bigger, and, they want to spread their misery onto you. That's what it is. They want to spread their misery on other people. They're basically saying, if I have to live with such and such, I don't like them. If I'm miserable, I'll make them miserable. They're basically saying, if I make them miserable, they'll go back to where they came from. But the thing is, some of them are born here, so they are where they came from. Remember that. And Bruce Lee was born here, so when he was having problems over there in his father's country, he went home to live with his father, of course. His father and mother, of course. But, when he got older, he was sent over here, back to his home state of Seattle, went to college, started a kung fu school. Really? I have cerebral palsy. So, bullying is not fun. And I bet a lot of these people that do the bullying would have no problem going into a Chinese restaurant, a Korean restaurant, or Mexican. No, mine hasn't been very good either. So, yeah. But these people they have no problem going into any of the following restaurants that I have aforementioned. So you're either racist or you're not. They're like, your best friend could be nice to you in front of you, and then your best friend could say nasty things about you they could say nice things about you in front of you, but then when you're not around, they could say all the dirty things they want about you. You know, and it stinks. It really stinks. Wow. Well, take care of yourself. I'm going to get off and have something to drink. I got to take my blood pressure meds and, let's see, my nerve pills. So I got to get off and take care of that. And I'm going to get my shoes and stuff on and try to get the day started. So I'll probably get back on sometime this weekend and we'll have a discussion then, okay? Read those articles. If you have any further comments, leave them below in the comments section. But any hate on Asians or African Americans will be deleted. So that don't fly here. I want the world to get along. Take care of yourselves. Keep following guidelines. I just heard that Florida is under a state of emergency, but we'll talk about that another day. So have a good day, everybody, and be kind to each other. We could have a bad day, but please try to be kind. Let's show the world that hate has no place. All right? Take care of each other, and thanks for watching. Bye.